The young woman begins on a dirt slope beside the stream, selecting cut bamboo poles and dragging them into position. Choosing the site while reading the terrain around her. She measures distances, cuts into the foot of the bank to create room for the supports. Pulls the long bamboo tubes into line. The pace is slow, but purposeful here. Every movement solves a balance problem before any visible floor can appear. The first support stakes are set very low, showing that this may be a temporary shelter, but it still has to be strong enough to last through a night in the wild. She checks the ground, adjusts the height of the supports, and adds more bamboo into the base. Every small movement serves a practical goal, creating a platform that will not sag or slip when the air and soil turn damp. Once the support frame feels more stable, she begins laying bamboo poles across it in even rows. The way she checks the spacing shows that this is not random work, but a careful balance between strength and efficient use of materials. The floor slowly takes shape as each bamboo pole is fitted more tightly into place. What began as an empty patch of ground now starts to look like a real camp bed, and the viewer can feel the character's slow but confident working rhythm. Quick science note: bamboo is hollow, but it is not weak. Its segmented structure helps distribute force, keeping the material light while still strong enough for floors and temporary shelters. This stage is quieter, but it determines how solid the platform will feel once someone sits or lies on it. By the end of the first stage, a low bamboo bed has taken shape against the slope. The work is clearly not finished because this platform now reads as the base for a more complete shelter in the next stage. In the next clip, she pulls a tarp over the bamboo platform and shapes it into a simple leaning roof. With one layer of cover placed in the right direction, the camp instantly changes from an outdoor bed into a rest spot that can block rain and wind. She crawls inside, adds a layer of bedding, and tests the width of the sleeping space. These shots make it clear that the first shelter is not built for beauty, but for a basic purpose: to stay drier, warmer, and safer beside the stream. If you enjoy real shelter building videos like this, please subscribe and stay until the end to see the larger structure finished. Once the sleeping place is usable, the pace shifts toward preparing a meal. She gathers firewood, starts a fire, and sets up a simple rack for roasting, turning the camp into a survival space that now covers the two most important needs: rest and food. The smoke thickens as the meat is laid over the rack, and the images begin to carry a stronger sense of reward after work. This part holds attention well because the fire-dripping fat and food color create a pleasant pause between the heavier building stages. At the end of the temporary shelter chapter, she steps into the water to cool off and wash after cooking. The mood becomes noticeably quieter, acting like a pause before the story moves into a larger and more ambitious build. This section should stay short and clean in the edit because its main value is satisfaction before the video shifts into the larger bamboo structure. Right after the break, she returns to the bamboo grove and begins working with poles that are thicker and longer than before. The size of the material alone signals that the next shelter will no longer be a low temporary bed near the ground. The larger bamboo poles are dragged to a new build site and set in parallel like the backbone of the structure. At this point, the video clearly shifts from camping into building because every step now aims at a frame that can stand on its own and rise above the ground. The base of the new shelter is formed with stronger cross pieces and more even spacing. This is where the narration should emphasize the upgrade because the viewer can now see the character moving from a temporary solution into a more deliberate and durable shelter. In the final clip, she sits directly on the new platform, trimming and shaping bamboo for the decking. The low, close working posture makes the pace feel slower, but it's exactly what gives the surface a cleaner and more usable finish. As the floor slats come together more tightly, the structure begins to feel much more solid. Unlike the first low platform, this shelter has the height proportion and balance to suggest repeated use rather than just a single night outdoors. She continues raising the upright posts and linking the upper frame that will carry the roof. The movements no longer feel experimental. Everything suggests she already knows exactly how high the structure should stand and which way the roof should slope. As more roof members appear in the underside view, the new shelter finally gains a recognizable form. This is a strong visual section because the viewer can clearly read the load-bearing system and feel the difference between a rough frame and a shelter with real structure. She rechecks the outer edges, adjusts the corners, and makes sure the frame is not twisting before she lets go. These shots should be kept long enough to show care, but not too long because they can slow the pacing near the end. The story closes on a larger, higher, and sturdier shelter standing beside the moving stream. Compared with the temporary camp at the beginning, the final structure shows a clear progression from getting through a night outdoors to creating a rest space that feels organized, skillful, and far more lasting.